No, there's only been one war.
No.
That was a rumor. That was bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, supposedly he was. Yeah, supposedly they said there's a rumor that he died of like according to Wikipedia, like supposedly he died of liver failure. But that was bullshit. There's never been two warriors.
What were you gonna say? Speaking of wrestling,
I had a question, kind of like a
game.
Doesn't have to be wrestling, because wrestling is just a good example of it because of title defenses and people winning and dropping titles at any given time. Say like you had a championship of some sort that you had to defend regularly, not like a sports trophy where you had to play a whole season, but like a wrestling title. If you want to say you hold the World Wrestling Federation champion or WWE title, and for something that you knew you had to defend and maybe even lose, didn't have to be scripted that you would lose, just that you would know eventually you would lose it, but you'd always have another chance to get it back. Would you prefer, I guess, terms would be quality, championship reigns, or quantity? Basically, would you rather have, say, like Randy Savage during his time, because he held, heavyweight titles between WWE and WCW 6 times, but his WWE reigns were more, I guess, say more quality because he held the title longer. Like his first title he held it over a year. The second one he held it for, I don't remember, a few months. He held it from WrestleMania, and then he lost it shortly after SummerSlam, which was was still a decent run. But in WCW, he never held it longer than 31 days. He won it 4 times, and his longest reign was 31 days. And
honestly, it's sloppy. You want to at least hold it a month or two.
Well, that one was a month, but he basically, like I said, he lost the title 31 days, and then the last 2 reigns he had, he only held it for a night. Because he won the title at a pay-per-view and then dropped it immediately to the next night to Hogan, both times.
Yeah, but length, just like...
So like I'm just saying, would you rather hold it twice and hold it less times but hold it longer days, or have it multiple times and have maybe shorter reigns? Maybe not a night like Savage, but maybe like Tennindo said, a month. Would you hold it a month and have maybe multiple chances, like 4 times, and hold it for a month each, or would you rather win it twice but hold it for a longer period of time?
I don't.
Quality.
Quality.
Having like the problem with let's say, having 16-time world champ or more, you know that you ended up losing it just as many times, and not all of those were going to be quality.
Yeah, personally, it'd probably be quality, but length is always remembered over quality. I think a good example of that is looking at boxing. When you look at heavyweight champions, I think Mike Tyson's a great example. How long he held that title. The thing is, there was no real competent competitors for him. But no one remembers the losers, right? Sorry.
Yeah, but then you also run into the problem, like say the CM Punk issue, right? You're a champion, but you don't really have a long title defense for say a year or more, but you just don't have quality matches to go with those title defenses. They kind of back burner you.
Yeah, but people don't remember that. Like Undertaker, right? I mean, I guess he's an example of doing length and quality, but still. But then again, I think that might be going into the scripted era where people.
I barely remember all of Undertaker's title reigns.
That's what I mean. And
he hasn't
he wasn't given that many, and I personally think that's because they just wanted to keep.
See, the thing with Taker is he's a guy that's built legacy without having those.
I know he's had 3, but one thing I wanted to mention, the thing about boxing, though, is that unlike wrestling where you could defend at any given night, boxing, you're usually taking, different. You go right the great lengths, like months before you defend your title.
Yeah, but
For
still,
training and rest, and
but that's because
it takes a while. It's not like
because it's actually being defended, though. It's not because someone says, to be fair, though, that's because it's genuine. It's genuine. Well, most times I would imagine it's genuinely being defended. It's not like some writers are saying like, look, we need, you know, Undertaker can't lose because he's a moneymaker. He puts asses in seats, and we need to keep that. We need to keep that mystique to him. We need to keep that undefeated thing to him. But in boxing, it does take months, right, to promote a match. That's usually why it takes so long that for the training. But also the problem is that um, there's rarely ever a period where there's a lot of great contending competitors. I think that was the problem Tyson ran into. Well, there was a lot of problems Tyson had, but during like the Holyfield and Lewis era, that was he came back and he was out of boxing for years. And when he came back, came back to a world of competitors. But before then, you can't name, you can't really name any of the people like Tyson fought before. It's because he's a great boxer, but I don't know though. You're right though. I mean, personally though, like you would like to think like, look, I would like quality because I know like I earned that title, right? I know I earned this.
I think I'd go with quality myself as well.
Yeah. But as
I'd
far
hate
as
it. I'd hate it to I'd hate to go like Savage and have like only a day to hold the title. Like, I'm pretty much just a transitional champion. I mean, yeah, all that was scripted and all, but still, it would still suck to sit there and go, yeah, you're gonna give me the title, but then I'm just gonna end up losing it the next night because that's what they want, or so and so wants it because I think even then Hogan had some creative control and he was gonna take the title wherever he wanted.
They ran that WCW. That's why WCW went to the shitter. That's why when Hogan went to TNA, they were like, well, that show's dead, and turned it off. Eric Bischoff and Hogan.
Yeah,
And
don't you think that was at the time when that was
Back-
around the time when Hogan started losing some of his role?
That's because, well, on top of the Time Warner or not Time Warner, AOL and Time Warner issues, WCW no one cared. They're like, oh, all right, well, Hogan's gonna win the title back anyways. Why even fucking bother watching it?
Yeah.
Hogan fucking ran that place. But again, he ran WWE too.
Well,
That's why Click exists.
it has some influence for sure. But
That's why what exists? You cut out there.
The Click,
Oh yeah, the Click.
because they're the ones that ran the place.
They did run the well. They did run the place, didn't they?
Like, well, I'm champion this week, bitch.
see, I don't know. If I were a pro wrestler, I would definitely take length over quality because I know I have very little. I mean, obviously my shtick, my character, it has something to do with weighing in on whether or not I'm going to win the title because popularity is obviously going to determine where you stand and how often you compete for titles and how often you win them. But still, I think in that sense, that's what people are going to remember the most is that the length. But in boxing, if I were like a boxer, personally I would probably go for the quality because looking back, I would be able to say like, I beat guys I probably shouldn't have been able to beat, or guys who had my best. Looking at
See, I still say though, even if you're a long-reigning champion, doesn't mean you're gonna have a quality match.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
no,
people
Matches aside, I was just in theory, would you rather have a quality title reign where you had it a long time but not as many times, versus multiple reigns but they were short?
Yeah, because no one remembers that. No one, it always comes down to like, oh wow, this guy held the title for like a decade. No one's ever like, oh yeah, but he didn't fight anybody.
The only time anyone's held it long like that was back in the olden days when they actually wrestled like boxers. When they did events and stuff, it's like, oh dude, wrestling, right? This guy's gonna fight this guy, and it's gonna be months down the road and stuff. Wrestling
Oh, okay.
is
Yeah.
a 24/7 thing where, oh my god, these guys got to be on the road all day. They're gonna be doing house shows, two main shows, and all this and that. And it's just really, I think it's a killer on these guys. That's why most people don't hold titles. 12 pay-per-views a year. That's just overkill.
No, but that's like suggesting that they have any kind of influence on whether or not they hold the title. They don't have any influence at all.
Oh,
Unless they're like The Rock or an Undertaker. And how often do those come around anymore? And even then, they lose them left and right, and that also depends on how active they are, right, in the sport. Because some
me personally, if I ever want to be a champion, even if I was a one-time champion, I'd want my legacy to be built for not having just because I had that title. I don't want it to be based around that title. Like you got people like Shawn Michaels that their legacy is not based around that title. His actual legacy is based around the Intercontinental title with Razor Ramon in that ladder match. He's very remembered for that one. But he's also remembered for being Mr. WrestleMania too, for having a great show.
well, how important is that for you? Because I've always been pretty much a passive observer when it comes to studio wrestling and everything. I mean, there was a small point like when during the Stone Cold era when I got a little involved. I was watching it, paying attention to it. But I've always had friends, balls deep into it. Personally, to me personally, it doesn't matter who won the title or if they won it or not. It doesn't matter to me.